tell you an odd experience I'm going through. So, my wardrobe is very small. I am married. I have a closet. Within that closet, I have a very small section that is my clothes. I'm okay with that. I'm just sharing with you that there's sometimes when you need a shirt. And you might be able to relate to this, but remember when you were a kid and it was like time to go back to school? And that's when you were almost guaranteed mom was going to take you, you were going to get a new pair of shoes or you were going to get a new pair of pants. Back to school shopping, if you will. So, my back to school shopping now for anything that I'm going to have in my closet largely consists of two things. One is either a holiday or one is my birthday, and I'll get some new attire. I'm not really go to the mall guy. So, in the period of this quarantine, I have found out that you can go online, push some buttons, and then something will show up to your door. I don't know if that's the best way to shop. Even though it's convenient, I think there is something to be said to a dressing room and a trying on process. Okay, set all of that aside. I find a shirt. It's $20, which happens to be my price range for a shirt. I'm that guy. I'm not paying more than 20 bucks for a shirt, and I happen to find one. I happen to be wearing it right now. But it comes in the mail. I order my size, which is an extra large. It comes to the house. It looks exactly like it did in the picture. Same color, same cut. It's summertime in Oregon. It's a little warm. It's a short sleeve, right? 1999, old Chael's got it made. Well, I put the shirt on just now, first time, and I'm kind of excited, by the way. I think you can relate. That's a human element. If you don't get a lot of new things and all of a sudden you have a new thing, there's something fun about that. So it comes. I'm already wearing a shirt. I go to my door. I'm in my shirt. I see my new shirt has arrived. I take the current shirt I'm wearing off to put my new shirt on like anybody else that just got a new shirt. I put the shirt on. The tag is in the side. Now, in my entire life, I have never seen a tag in the side. I've never even heard of it. As a matter of fact, I have a 5-year-old little maniac that I call my son. I'm teaching him how to put a shirt on, and I tell him very clearly, the same as your parents told you, you look for the tag, and that goes in the back. So these guys have now put a tag on the side. Now, I should mention for you before you say, well, Chael, why don't you, if it's bothering you, if it's irritating your neck, why don't you just rip it out? Well, you guys also know this tag, right? There's two kinds of tags. I have the foggiest idea how one is. Some tags are built into the fabric, like where you go to pull on it to rip it out and it doesn't come. And then if you really give it some muscle, because now it's like an ego thing between you and the tag, you now have a hole in your shirt. By the way, if you order it online, I imagine there's a return policy. I just don't know what it is. So I pull on the tag. I'm a strong enough guy. Tag doesn't come, tells me it seamed into the shirt. So I'm going, wait a second. Somebody always has to get cute. It's just one of these things. Like anybody that has any vision of artisticness has to put their own flair on things. I have argued this in the world of jiu-jitsu from day one. One of the reasons jiu-jitsu fails to get off is every single event that there is has to write their own rules. Whoever's writing the checks and raised the money and organized this thing, like there's nothing that can get around his ego to not write his own rules because he knows everything. It's just one of these weird things. So you watch 5 jiu-jitsu events. No, you haven't. You watched 5 different sports. If I change the rule of anything, I have now changed what that is. Right? If I go and put M&Ms in a cookie, I don't get to call it a chocolate chip cookie. I have to call it an M&M cookie. If I pull the M&Ms out and I put chocolate chips in, I get to call it a chocolate chip cookie. You change one ingredient, you just changed what it is. So I'm sitting here with this shirt that is irritating my neck, but I'm forced to wear it because it's new. I have no ability to return it. Oh, and by the way, don't think you're going to be the smart one and go, well, just cut the tag. For anybody who's ever cut a tag, that will amplify the itchiness tenfold. I'll give you a quick story. I was on The Apprentice. I was doing The Apprentice one time, and we had a task. The task was to go into the See's Candy factory, work with the chefs, the candy cooks, design your own candy. Now, here's who's going to be the judge of who has the best candy. You're going to fly out to Omaha, Nebraska, and you're going to present a piece of your new creation to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett happens to own See's Candy. There's your tie-in. So, like anybody who would ever go into this, you're going to have to get creative and put your own flair on candy and do all of these wild things. And I had read a book. I'd read 3 Warren Buffett books, but in one of the books, he talked about what he likes. One of them was he liked Coke, but specifically cherry Coke. And one of them had to do with See's candy. And he liked the nougat inside with milk chocolate on the outside. This like the simplest one you could make. I get it. I got simple taste too. I understood the whole thing, but I remembered that. It was one of these facts that where are you ever going to need that? And I find myself in a situation where that's very handy. And the rule for the task is we had to create a new candy. It could not be something that See's was already making, by example. So I knew that Warren Buffett, who's going to judge this whole thing, liked milk chocolate with a nougat inside. I went to Vince Neil, who was the head of the project. I said, Vince, this is his favorite candy. I know it for sure. He wrote it in a book. Make that exact same candy, except instead of milk chocolate, put dark chocolate on the outside. He won't even know the difference. He'll think he's biting into his favorite thing, right? I mean, if I give you guys a cherry Coke and you swear that you love that more than anything, but I slip it into a fountain drink, turns out it's a cherry Pepsi. Yeah, you're going to find some people out there that know the difference, but in large part, you're really not. I mean, you are talking about kind of apples to apples here. It's very close. So anyway, we go do this project. It works perfectly. Buffett loves it. We win the task. And I was the one that had flown out and presented the candy to the judge. So for the other team was John Lovett. And the other team, my goodness, they did everything to this damn candy, right? It was their first time in the candy store and they had to get creative. And my goodness, I mean, it had 2 different kinds of chocolate and it had a coconut on it and it had just a hint of raspberry. And it was, it sounded disgusting, but more than anything else, it was very complicated. They were putting in all these different ingredients and we won the task. And John Lovett had even argued to Governor Schwarzenegger. He argued and said, hey, Chael read in a book that this is Warren's favorite and he only changed one ingredient. That's not fair. He's supposed to change a candy and make a new candy. That's basically the same candy. Governor's going, John, I fully agree with you. Basically is still a new candy. And the only reason I bring that out is who would be sitting somewhere and thinking that they did a really great job, right? I mean, I see this I'm comparing this to all sorts of things, but it's because I'm largely very irritated that I now have a shirt that I spent my limit on of what I'm willing to pay for a shirt. I waited 3 days for it to come. And then you have to imagine the person that made this. Like they sit down as there's some kind of a creative genius. They're going to take cotton and they're going to sew it in such a fashion that your head can fit through and your arms can fit through. And they know that it's summertime, so they're going to make it short sleeve so that you're not too hot. I mean, they're sitting around like that's been done a million times. There's absolutely no creativeness in this. And there's only so many colors out there you can make a shirt. It's like music. There's only so many notes. So when you've identified yourself for apparently false reasons as a creative genius, and all you did is copy something that's been around for hundreds of years, but you had to put your own stamp on it. And that stamp was to put a tag on the side of the shirt you're a little bit of a jerk.